The theme for this month is curiosity. Now, you might be curious what curiosity has to do with spiritual practice, but we're about to find out. You know, kids are curious from the very beginning. Babies are trying to understand their world. Kids ask why? Who, how come? Are we there yet? We learn from trying. What can I see from the top of the tree? How far up can the tree can I go? Something I was did lots of weird experiments on when I was a kid. I almost glue. I was not sniffing it. It was like, once it dries, then can you move it? And you can, anyway, we get into things. We wonder why the world works the way it is, how things work. We experiment with things, we try. And sometimes we ask these questions when we're young, but as we get older, we often ask, why am I here? What's mine to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? Do I want to grow up? What is the meaning of life? 42, but that's another story. Curiosity is our desire to know and understand. Understanding, remember, is one of our Unity's 12 powers. So curiosity is what helps us get there. So last week I was listening to the radio and they're doing this interview with this doctor of, she studies rodent behavior. Anyway, it's very interesting. And she was talking about how the information that we have, she was talking about the body of information we have in science and what motivated her to be a scientist. And she said and her name's Dr. Danielle Lee. And she says, so here's the first thing that most people don't realize. The cumulative knowledge we have in the world right now is all based on individual people's personal curiosities. So everything that's been codified by the modern system, it's all because of a lot of people's personal curiosities. I study what I study because it's what I want to do. I thought that was, it was sort of one of those, well, yeah, of course moments, but also something that made me go, oh yeah, of course that's true. And she also points out later in her interview that what she's talking about, what's codified by this modern system, the modern system has left out indigenous knowledge, cultural knowledge that is different than sort of the European-centric model, which is an important thing to notice too. But everything that we know, whether it's how far up the tree we can climb, or deep things like what a quasar is or a pulsar is, or why the rodent behavior, whatever it is that we're discovering, it's all, we've figured all these things out because of curiosity. Somebody wanted to know. Isn't that interesting? So one of the things I like about it, I think is really powerful about curiosity, is that the first thing we must acknowledge is that there's something we don't know. I think a lot of our way we are kind of set up in our culture is like, we like to act like, we know all the stuff. But there's something really great about saying, well, I don't know. So then I can use my curiosity to find out. And it reminds me of the Buddhist teaching of the empty cup. You can't put new things in a full cup. And so we either have to empty the cup or get a bigger cup. Buddhists didn't say that part, but I think that there's value in that too. When we're talking about learning new things, you could say there's more for us to learn. There's more for us to discover. So curiosity is saying, there's room in my cup to find out new things. Let's find out some new things. so we can be open to new possibilities. And I think it's really important to say, sometimes we use our curiosity for joy, to see and experience new things, to learn about the world. Like all of these awesome folks that are coming to visit us in Alaska. They're curious about the world. They're going to learn about new things and see new experiences. We use our curiosity to see beauty and feel awe. I like the idea of, or the concept of awe, because to me that is the way to explain a spiritual experience without naming it a particular denomination or even spiritual. Awe transcends any religious context. And we can use our curiosity when we're having feelings or when we're feeling triggered. What if we learn to come to curiosity and say, wow, that interaction really had some feelings. And instead of being like, well, that's because they're a jerk, which might feel appropriate in the moment, maybe we use our curiosity to say, I wonder what that's about. In a gentle way. And then maybe if we can use our curiosity to gently inquire, we can notice something and learn something, maybe even heal something, and transform our next experience. And of course, we can use curiosity to learn about the world, like scientists, like kids figuring out what happens if you move these rocks, the water will move in a different way. Did anybody else do that? Play with rocks, mud, water? Yeah, okay. Some of you, good. But then, of course, we use our curiosity to go deeper into the spiritual realm. I'm going to quote to you one of my favorite Charles Fillmore quotes because it makes me laugh. I know you didn't, I know you didn't really, most of us don't think of Charles Fillmore, especially like in his writing, is super funny, but I think it's funny. So he said, this is under the definition of understanding in the Revealing Word. And he says, there are two ways of, helps if you stay on the same line. There are two ways of getting understanding. One is by following the guidance of spirit that dwells within, and the other is to go blindly ahead and learn by hard experience. I mean, it's not hilarious, but it is kind of funny. It's sassy. We'll go with that. It's sassy. So we can be curious about things, and we can use the wisdom of our friends, of our spiritual community, of our guidance, our inner wisdom, our, books and all those things to help us chart a wiser path. Or we can just sort of be the kid who goes just a little too far up the tree. And that's another way to learn about physics and trees, right? But curiosity motivates us to learn about these things. Why does this work this way? How did that change happen? See, unity really, if you think about it, became something more than a certain one person's healing, right? Myrtle Fillmore had a healing experience, which was over lots of time experience. But what made unity turn into something more than just one person's experience was Charles Fillmore going, I wonder how that worked. He went, Well, she's having changes happen in her life that are good things, and in her health that are good things. I wonder what that's all about. Now, those are not the exact words that Charles Moore used. No, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And so that's curiosity, right? So he was like, huh, that's interesting. So I'm going to go check that out. And so he started putting some sort of, what we would call even scientific or experimental framework around this experience of prayer and positive prayer and noticing thoughts and changing your words and all of the stuff that we talk about and teach. He practiced it. So that's another part of curiosity. He's like, let's prove it, right? Scientists do experiments to either prove or disprove their theory. We can do the same thing with our spiritual practice. We put into practice. Does it work? If it works, can we keep working it? If it's not working, we either realize that there's a hiccup or we need to change course, or maybe this doesn't work. Isn't that fun? So we use our curiosity to engage us into the process of wanting to experience more. It's not about brain knowledge, even though it can be. It's about knowing things at a deeper level. So here's a couple ways we can practice curiosity. When we meet a new person, we could ask, what can I learn from this person? Or how could I show up with this person today? Just a question. Could be anybody you come across. Or if you really want to do the power level, you could, if you come across a person who's challenged you in the past, how could I be curious? How can I show up in a different way with this person? What would it take for me to make this, help this be different? That's not your job to change people who change people, but you can change your part. When we have, like I mentioned, a reaction, something big happens, something small, even the little things. Self-inquiry. I wonder what this is about. What's the unmet need here? And finally, there's lots of other ways, but what if we, instead of being, it's not just about being curious about things we don't know. What if we could see anew? Most of us spend a lot of our time in places that we've been lots of times before. I don't know about you all, but I know the layout of Costco as well as I know the layout of my own house. Except for the part they always change, the middle part. But how can we see anew? And that's part of what we talked about last week with being present and noticing. But how can we see anew? Be curious about the things that we think we know or have seen a million times. I don't know about you, but in my neighborhood, the neighbors' gardens are always changing and growing. There's always something new to see. My neighbor on the corner has an amazing dahlia display happening right now. So how can we see anew? In the song we listened to before, I'm Not Lost, I Am Exploring by Janice Stanfield, she said, I have joy as my compass and faith has my back. So we can go out there and be curious, be led by joy. What makes us, what's interesting to us, what's exciting to us? We know that faith has our back. So our theme for the month is curiosity. How can we explore deeper within, learn more, have an open cup? Curiosity motivates us to learn about the outer and inner world. Oh, I wanted to mention, See, this is what happens. You write down your notes and then you get another idea and then you like put a little arrow and then I'm always curious how it's going to work out. But I just wanted to mention Thomas. Thomas from the Bible, people give him a bad rap because they call him Doubting Thomas. But you know what? He was the one who was curious and wasn't sure. And guess what? Because of that, he is the one who got to experience the, touching and actually experiencing it, because he was willing to say, I want to know more about that. And so it's okay to be like, I want to know more about that. That's why he represents the power of understanding, you see, because he wanted to know it more. So we have curiosity. We've had it with us from the very, very beginning. Sometimes we've been taught by our culture or whatever to not pay attention, but we're always curious about things. And so let us empty our cup of the things that we think we know and open up to a deeper understanding of what is available and what is possible, and the awe and the beauty that awaits us just around the corner.